Stay Sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive. Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business and publishing world, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing and guidance for growth, mindset and motivation. Each session includes a magical guided meditation led by Jane. I don't know if you could hear all that kerfuffle, but that did not sound good. So I just cut that. I cut the jingle because something was going a little bit weird. But anyway, this is Jane and this is Stay Sane with Jane. And I am delighted to be introducing Jules from Single Mums Business Network today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jane. I was actually really enjoying that jingle intro. It sounded perfect where I am. So
did it? So it
yeah,
was.
really,
it was going really weird for me. Thinking and everything. It's like,
oh, it's good. It's lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So we have been in each other's online space for how long?
I think 3 years, maybe.
I think it must be. Was it just before? It was just before the whole lockdown palaver. So I think it was the end of 2019.
Yeah.
That we connected online. Me as a single mum in business, you with your wonderful network group. And I thought, this is just what I need. I need to connect with more people like me who are in business, who are, many of us, soul carers of our little kiddies. So I wanted to connect with people that actually got that aspect of being a single mum, being the only breadwinner, but also the only carer. And I think it's so important, isn't it, to connect with like-minded individuals. And that's why I connected with you.
I'm so glad you did, Jane, because we do need to be connected, for so many reasons, not only for professional development, but for personal sanity. So, of course, the title of your show is perfect, really. Do you want me to tell you now about, tell
us a little bit about yourself, and we will get to the business through that as well.
Sure. So I am a single mum, being here as a Single Mums Business Network, and I've always been a single mum. I knew from the very beginning it was very much a decision for me to do this on my own, and I was absolutely fine with that. I had a very normal 20-year career background. I just worked. I actually worked abroad for a few years, so I was used to a 7-day working week. So coming back to the UK and having weekends thrown in the mix was like, well, hey, 50 holidays a year. This is brilliant. But I still worked full time to sort of UK standards. And, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So when I then decided to be a single parent on my own, I wasn't at all concerned about taking care of her on my own, because I was just going to do that, as I always had, really. I just thought another little mouth to feed. But I didn't realise, of course, that I would have barriers, physical barriers. I didn't realise that childcare wouldn't cover the full working day, 52 or at least 48 weeks per year. I knew I could take 4 weeks annual leave, but I thought I'd be okay for childcare full time for 48 weeks of the year. I really did. It's completely naive to it. 20 years in work, I really didn't know that there would be a barrier. I just thought I'd do maternity leave, get back to work and use childcare. So then there was this barrier, and childcare just couldn't cover the hours, and work wouldn't let me reduce my hours to fit into the available childcare hours. And then I entered this whole world of, wow, I can sort of go on to that in a minute when you want, but
yeah, definitely, I will join in then.
yeah. So having, suddenly facing barriers to work. And I tried hook, line and sinker to sort of get adequate work. But my skill set was massively reduced. My salary was massively reduced. Even though I could have still managed to work 30 hours, I was kind of forced into a situation where I was working sort of 12 or 15 hours or something. And, and I had a massive knock-on effects financially. My house was repossessed and my credit file was completely ruined overnight. And on paper, I was ruined overnight because all of a sudden, instead of being a 20-year career girl with a home and a car and all the rest of it, I was suddenly this single mum who needed benefits for the first time in her life to top up this part-time income, even though I never wanted it to, reduce my salary that way. So that then came the entrepreneurial journey. It's like, well, okay, I need to use my skills. I need to earn my worth. And I need to make sure that my daughter doesn't suffer as a consequence of my status. So that was a long journey then, which eventually led to the Single Mums Business Network.
Yeah. And let's go back to a minute about that, because we both made the choice. I knew very early on that I was going to be a single mum, and I made that decision that, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be okay. I'm on a good salary. I was the deputy manager in the NHS at the time. And I was like, yeah, easy. No, not easy. When I tried to come back from maternity leave and go part-time, I hit barrier after barrier after barrier because I was the first person in that particular department to even have a baby, crazily,
Right.
but want to come back part-time. So I had to break all of those barriers. And that took most of my attention towards the end of my maternity leave. And then comes in the childcare costs, which again, I mean, you have to be earning serious amounts of money to be able to comfortably afford childcare and pay everything else. Because I was very lucky. At the time, I was living at my mum and dad's. I was giving them rent, but it was minimal. It's like £300 a month, all in. Like who generally gets
Amazing.
to pay that, right? No,
Yeah.
no one.
Yeah.
And then the childcare on top of that, and I had no money left. I had cut a few £100. It was absolutely ridiculous, and that is what we're up against, aren't we? But it did spur me on that I really needed to do my own business and
Yeah,
be
that's
earning more than, £15 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. It seems glamorous on the outside. You use the words entrepreneur, mumpreneur, woman in business. We really kind of celebrate and applaud these titles that we have. But I was in a meeting today, and in that meeting was a representative from the Bank of England. It was a meeting with Purple Shoots Responsible Finance, and we were talking about these barriers to work and childcare and all of the rest of it. And it's trying to get a message across. We kind of glamorize the fact that we're entrepreneurs or businesswomen, but actually what we're doing is we're primary carers desperately trying to retain financial autonomy, desperately trying to work, use all our skills, continue to work full time, because we know we can work 70 hours a week between school hours and when they're in bed and weekends, because that's what we have to do to survive as entrepreneurs. But the truth of it is, certainly the truth for me, is I've only ever wanted the stability of employment, the salary that comes with employment, the paid holiday that comes with employment. I've always loved employment, and I've always loved the comradeship that comes with employment. You have a bit of a laugh and a joke over the coffee machine. And I think in lockdown, obviously, a lot of certainly men experience for the first time ever being out of that environment where you are at home 24/7. It's not all, easy letting the kids run around with daytime TV. It's lonely and you want to get back to the office. So we are kind of glossing over the fact that what we're doing is trying to survive and doing our absolute best at survival. And we do achieve it, of course, because we're absolutely brilliant. You know, we're skilled and we're clever, but it's not easy. It's really not easy. And again, that's why I set up the network, because it was not only understanding those barriers, but understanding the loneliness and being comfortable with that. We're not supposed to be alone. You know, we're supposed to have teammates in one way, shape, or another. You know, so I know I completely digressed, Jane. So rein me back in. And
no, it's okay. Tell us how you got started with the Single Mums Business Network.
Yeah, sure. So obviously we've gone from this kind of situation where I was an employee, and then post maternity realizing that I needed to be self-employed if I wanted to keep working. So I was then for about 6 years doing that journey on my own. I designed a product called the Key Bed, which is a pregnancy cushion that enables clients to lay prone in their third trimester of pregnancy. I designed it for me. But when I had such positive feedback from like the health visitor and massage therapists, I realized I had a market that I felt duty bound, a product that I felt duty bound to share with the market. But because I'd miscarried earlier, I wanted to make sure that it was completely safe for mum and baby and it didn't pose any risks. So for a couple of years, I was embarking on research, and I was embarking on getting a market-ready product that had been completely health and safety approved, but also had the background research into laying prone and the benefits of mum and baby for that, etc. So I was on this business journey. I was getting into networking with men and women in business, which was lovely to have people around you that were encouraging and supportive, and to have people look at you as a businesswoman rather than employee was refreshing. And it helped me to grow as a person, to change my mindset and how I felt about myself. But there were barriers. So I felt like I was alone. I couldn't quite explain to them why I couldn't make the 7 at the breakfast networking meeting. Or, you know, some of the people I network with would have like an event on a Friday night and I just couldn't go. And then I felt lonely, because when I got home, I couldn't really talk to anybody about my, you know, journey and my struggles, and just the financial adversity of it, sometimes not being able to afford to go to the networking lunch. So I really I started to think, I can't be the only mum. All we ever see about single mums, of course, is the press perspective. And whenever a single mum is portrayed in the press, it's always a very negative portrayal, which makes you feel quite ashamed of taking that title. And so I didn't really, it took me a long time to realize. I went to a single mums, just a social gathering, because I was so lonely and so desperate for some company and for my daughter to have people to play with. And I thought, why, these women aren't all basically work shy, you know, chain smoking, swearing, foul language. And I hate to say it, but that is, you know, what you kind of think.
That's the tabloids portrayal, isn't it?
Yeah, you think there's going to be, you know, limited intelligence, ill-managed children, you know, and obesity, you know, in its ugliest form, and all of those things. And so I met these women on this day, and I thought, why, they're just like me. They're skilled professional women who are now doing it solo, some widowed, some abused, some cheated on, some just deciding, no, I want to do this on my own. I'm happier on my own. So through the business journey and through the networking barriers, breakfast meetings, and through not really feeling like nobody understood when I didn't ever get a cup of coffee bought sat on a Sunday morning, or nobody ever took my rubbish out for me, you know, and it was all on me to pay the rent and the bills and everything else, and to bring in enough money to do all of that. I just put something out there, and I thought, single mums in business. I just, you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning when you have your light bulb moment, and I thought, I'm going to reach out and see if there are other women out there. I can do business networking, but just for single mums, because we're all going to get it. It's an unspoken understanding. It's like a hidden, I wouldn't say hidden disability. It's not a disability, but what I mean is it's something you can't see, but you all understand when you've experienced the same barriers or the same stigma or the same. So I put it out there, single mum business network meeting, and the response was just absolutely incredible straight away. And we started to build up meetings pre-lockdown nationally. I had several county coordinators throughout the UK. You were one of them, because you believed in it too. But then, of course, lockdown came, and it changed to a Zoom and online. Well, it's convenient, whereas you only would have built up relationships with people in your area. Instead, what we did was built up a national relationship, so the ladies in Liverpool could network with the ladies in Devon, and it's just kind of Zoom is stuck really with that because it's easier, it's convenient with childcare, it's convenient for cost. We've had a couple of gatherings, we've got the awards coming up obviously, but we'll
definitely talk about those later.
We've got each other, and even if we don't see each other and we don't talk, we know we've got each other, and we know we understand, and we know we belong to a community who understands, and that's kind of a safety net that I wish I'd had 8 years ago. So that's why I started the Single Mums Business Network.
And what I've found being connected to you and the rest of the ladies is, like you say, we've got many stories that are the same. We've got many connections on not just entrepreneurial business connections, it's family and life connections, social connections. We've all sat at home wishing we could be out, or to have the money to be out, to have the childcare to be out, or we can all feel that loneliness and have that empathy with each other, because many people, and I think we're all pretty real, we tell people how it is on Instagram and Facebook, but there's a lot of other people out there that maybe are leading their Instagram life, so it all looks great on the surface, but actually, behind closed doors there are entrepreneurs, single mums, entrepreneurs that are really lonely, and they're not able to do the things that they want to do all the time. I joined a early morning networking group, but I could only do that years and years ago because I was still living at my mum and dad's. So I would get up super early. My baby would too. I, would feed her, get her washed and ready. And then as I was walking out the door, over to the grandparents, and I'd come back in 3 hours type of thing.
That sounds like a dream.
It was great. And do you know what? I got to put on the fancy dresses, the heels, the makeup, and I didn't feel guilty because I was going to work type thing. Yeah. But if it came to evenings out, or they'd want to meet on a Friday night down the pub or something like that, I always said no, because I felt like I couldn't do that. I couldn't leave. There was that guilt inside me that I couldn't go out and have fun. It was okay to have childcare, to work, but not to go out and have fun. And I know a lot of us have felt like that, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't justify it on so many levels. It's not only walking away from your baby like that, but it's also the financial side of it, because you know that everything's on you. It's like every penny you need to make sure you're holding in reserve, isn't it? To make sure that baby rainy day. And I think when you haven't got steady income, probably if you had steady income through salary and holiday pay, you might feel okay about spending your disposable income on going out.
Yeah.
When you're self-employed, there's never that guarantee 1 month after the other. So there's never that real you can never actually breathe. You're always in fight or flight mode with finance. You can never really relax and say, it's okay for me to spend this tonight because I know I've got exactly the same coming in next month. And you lose that when you become a woman in business.
Yeah, you really do. I know I've spoken to you about the way I set up my business and the way I coach other women to set up their businesses. And it is, so there's a certain amount of security, but really only 1 month in advance, because your clients could all give you a month's notice and then boom, be gone. Hopefully, I've never met anybody, even through lockdown, all of my clients, their incomes did reduce, but they didn't become non-existent, and some of us increased our incomes through that. So, but there's always that level of anxiety around money if it's just you and if it's self-employed. I know there's a lot of people at the moment really worried about what's going on in the financial world right now, kind of in the UK. And although I stay out of the news, I don't watch the news or TV or anything like that, you've got to have your ear to the pulse for these things to kind of bulletproof your business as much as possible, don't you?
Yeah, you do. But obviously news is very speculative. I mean, they're terrible at winding people up and speculating what can go wrong and giving bad news. So actually, when I watch TV, I watch Parliament TV because I like to watch what's coming straight out of the horse's mouths. So that I do understand what they're talking about, what they're discussing. You know, there's so much negative talk. But because I watch Parliament TV instead of the news, I know that I can see what's being discussed in Parliament and I can see what's coming up. And as you know, I've, been sort of hand delivering letters to Liz and Rishi, and I was speaking to Chris Phelps last week. And, I make it my business to speak to people in government, ministers and everything else, because it's really important to keep a healthy perspective on the positives, which is never reported in the news. It's always very much panic driven. It's clickbait, isn't it? It's panic and, fueling anger and fueling hate and fueling fear. And a lot of it's warranted, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I avoid the news as well for that reason, because I think, and don't speculate, tell me news that's actually news. It's happened. It's, to a degree. I mean, obviously we need to sort of put a bit of pressure on these things, but I don't think they take a blind bit of notice of pressure anyway. They don't today.
They do.
No, they're bringing a couple of announcements forward from November to October. So, but I think that's really to protect their jobs, really, than to sort of respond to the general public's cries for help. But anyway, we just need to, at the end of the day, they are in power at the moment. And what I try to do with the Single Mums Business Network is, rather than wish for things to change, I work with things as they are. So I try to communicate with our current leaders. I try to communicate with our current government and say, this is the reality. Please open your minds. Please educate yourselves. Please understand the root causes, because threatening a woman to pull the blanket from beneath her, without tackling the root cause, I think is probably the cruelest thing a human being can do. There's lots of work to be done there, but I've completely digressed again. I wanted to go back on something you said, but it's gone now, Jane. Perimenopausal, it's just like no hope.
That's all right. I was going to bring the discussion round to what it's like. So the usual question is, if we were to work together, what would it look like? So for you, it's for this episode, it's slightly different. So if you're a single mum in business, let's sell what do they receive when they join Single Mums Business Network, and how do they join it as well?
So when this is on the radio, are you linking to the video as well? Because I can show you a visual of the magazine.
We put everything down so we can describe the magazine.
So what we have here is a lovely A4 glossy magazine. When you joined the Single Mums Business Network, what we had was a very thin A5 magazine. And that's part of the difficulty of being an entrepreneur. Now, I know you and I are very alike like this. We have our vision. We know exactly where we're going. We know what it's going to look like. And it's lovely when people on board and trust that process with us. So I always knew it was going to be a nice A4 glossy magazine that can be on the shelf next to Psychologist magazine. And this is it is the main part of the Single Mums Business Network now, because this magazine challenges the social impact. So it really continues to talk about the barriers to work, the barriers to finance, the barriers to home, but in a really positive way, in just explaining and educating on, look, if these things are tweaks, we can be supporting the economy, because I think there are lots and lots of people in our situation that are currently being supported by the economy because they need these barriers removed, whereas actually a few simple tweaks here and there that are actually very easy to achieve can result in us supporting the economy instead of the economy sorting us. So there's a lot of content in here that cries out to leaders and business leaders and politicians to sort of make some changes in the way that they employ people and the way that they enable people to help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And also it tries to move away from the stigma. So every woman that's a member, and the SMBN is very much about, it's not about what you can get out of it, it's about what you're joining. I find that people who expect to join the Single Mums Business Network and then double their turnover in 6 months, they're joining for themselves and they're not joining for the purpose and for what it is. So we're removing stigma. That's really important, Jane, because there are a lot of women who are stuck in abusive relationships. They are stuck in abusive relationships because they're so afraid of how they will manage on their own financially.
Yeah.
And society has still such a negative dialect around single mums to make it so uncomfortable. I've got one lady who joined us recently who still won't tell anybody she's a single mum because of her religion, and her parents are so ashamed of her status. Yeah, she can't say that she's a single mum. So everything that she does with us is very private, behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And it's work. So there's a lot of people out there who are physically unable to get out of the situation they're in because they're so heavily stigmatized with this status. It's something to be proud of. To run a home and to run a business and to take care of your children, you know, we really need to embrace and make it a proud thing to be single mum in business. But crucially, when you join the Single Mums Business Network, it's not a charity. And I think sometimes people think that it is. It's not. It's a business network. And every single member, because I set it up in adversity, I keep membership so incredibly low. It's literally £10 per month or £2.50 per week. Because I remember sometimes £10 going out of your bank account. If you're making £20 or £30 spread the week on food, £10 could be a massive hit. So £2.50 going out each week, you can almost dismiss it, you still notice it, but you are not asking, because one of the stigmas about being a single parent is that you're asking for help or you're expecting people to carry you. So there's a massive psychological thing here where nobody who joins the Single Mums Business Network is asking for help. Nobody who joins the Single Mums Business Network is expecting to be carried. Everybody is investing in their own professional and personal development. They're not only investing in themselves, but they are helping women all over the country, because every time they talk about the Single Mums Business Network and a website gets a hit, every single member gets exposure to her business.
Mm-hmm.
So we could be having this chat today. Somebody could go and Google SMBN or Single Mums Business Network, and they could find Lisa's, silver jewelry for pets, not for pets, with owners who love pets, the doggy paw prints and things like that. So every time that any member talks about the SMBN or shares the magazine or shares their own business through the magazine, they're helping all of their comrades. It's a real team thing. It's like, I'm not just in this for me. I'm in this because we're sick of being told that we're, an underdog in society, I guess. We're tired of the barriers that exist that make us ask for help when we shouldn't be asking for help. We're perfectly capable. I just shook the screen, sorry. So we're united. We're putting up a united front and we're saying, look, we're intelligent, we're smart, we're paying our way, we're growing our business, we're developing. There is no woe is me mindset in the SMBN. We understand these barriers, but we don't have victim mindsets. We know what each other's goes through. We don't need to harp on about it. I think every single member who's ever joined has said they go onto these single mums pages, and there's a lot of negative talk, you know, and
Yeah.
it's almost like, but we don't want to be negative. We want to look at the solutions. We don't want to look at the problem. We address the problem and we raise awareness of the problem, but we do it for the purpose of finding solutions for all of us, and to make sure that the problem doesn't still exist for our children, because all of our daughters need to be able, with absolute confidence, to say if they're in a toxic relationship, they need to be able, with absolute confidence, say, I'm going to walk away and do this on my own. I don't need you to carry me financially. And I'm perfectly okay to say, okay, I'm going to be a single mum now. I'm not going to be a married mum now. They all need to have the confidence that it's great to be in a relationship if it's healthy and you're loved and you're happy with each other. That's wonderful. If you're a team and you work together and you love each other, that's a beautiful, beautiful situation to be in. But if it's not happy, you need to be able to leave. And as it stands at the moment, our daughters are going to be afraid to leave, you know. So so we're setting an example, we're being positive, we're being proactive, you know, everybody chips in. It's just, and of course, this magazine, everybody gets exposure to their business in this magazine. There's no advertising.
As a member, you get the opportunity to write articles for the magazine. I've written in the last 2, I believe. No, maybe not that one, but I've written 2 long articles in different magazines. I've been on the front cover of one of the magazines, and that magazine went to several MPs, the now Prime Minister, and an ex-Dragon's Den
That's right.
post, you know?
Yeah.
And he reposted the magazine on Instagram, and I was sat on his shelf on one of his podcasts, you know?
It's wonderful,
Pretty
isn't it?
amazing.
You know, he's been so incredibly supportive, and it's taken years to build up these kinds of relationships. You know, it has taken years, and I think this is one of the benefits, like you say. It's the magazine itself. It's just one of the benefits. So when I was networking, I would find that I joined a network and then I was upsold, or you can buy this or buy that. Now, if you're told you need to pay £60 for a small advert in a magazine, we all know how difficult that is. You know, it's fine now. I mean, I've spent, with the SMBN, I've spent £1,000, I think, on a page in Psychologist magazine to send readers our way. It's the same for a lady magazine advert to send their readers our way. So it's reaching the readers. A member herself wouldn't be able to. Some members can, don't get me wrong. I mustn't tie everyone with the same brush, because some of our members are high net worth. Some of our members are still on benefits. There's a real mix, but you can never tell. You can never tell who's who. And that's brilliant, because everybody is the same. Everybody feels the same. Everybody's treated the same. We don't really talk about money. We just
don't actually. In all of the online meetings, all of the in-person meetings I've been, I have no idea actually how much everybody earns. It's not about that. It's about shining a light on them, their business, and if they need help in any other area of their life. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, we just sit and we chat, and it's very, very casual, but we can all give each other lovely bits of tips and advice, and how to sort of, so the membership benefits you were saying about the kind of selling up thing, it's actually there's a lot. So I'm going to try and say it in brief. The initial thing, and I think really when you look at the £250 per week or £10 per month, at £120 per year it equates to. When you look at the fee, what you get for your money, which obviously is what some people ask, but like I said earlier, I don't want anybody to join for what they get. I want people to join for what it is and what they belong to. But what you get, which the £120 whole year's fee, is gone in 5 seconds. My time, I value my time that much.
Yeah.
You know, but it is valuable. Now, I've spent years building up. I've got over 10,000 first connections between my blog followers, between my LinkedIn connections, between my Twitter followers, and all of these things has taken me years of business networking, years of building up relationships. I've got as you know, relationships now with quite influential people in the business world, and generally in the UK. So when a member joins, if she's in business, I do this blog. So we set up this business card and we put links to your website and we tell everybody, we're like, look, this is so and so, and this is what she's doing, and this is where her website is, and this is what you can buy. So that's an immediate introduction, immediate, really powerful. So the fact that you get that when you first set up your first £2.50 payment, there's a lot of trust on my part. I'm really hoping that that person stays for at least a year so I can get my value from that one blog, because obviously it takes me half a day to set it all up and write it and format it and send it out across all of these platforms. So they get that really good exposure to all of those people. They don't have to shout about themselves. I shout about them. So that's the initial thing. And to be honest with you, then, you're in, like, I'm in credit. It's like everything else after that is just, it's not even value for money. It's just like
these are all the extras. Bang for your buck.
This is all your extras. So you've got, we set up a membership to PAM Assist. Like PAM Assist give their certified counsellors, they do legal advice and all kinds of advice, debt advice. So you've got real support there through PAM Assist. You can ring them and talk to them. And I send out the newsletters to members through HubSpot to make sure they've got the login information and stuff like that, which hopefully you've had, it's not in spam.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the one-to-ones, you can have a one-to-one with me anytime as a member. We talked about this before. You said, Jude, I really want to say that because people are going to bleed you dry.
Yeah.
I'm very spiritual like this, and I trust the universe, and I trust that they're only going to send enough one-to-ones that I can deal with, and we chat. And it's fine, because at the end of the day, if somebody needs to talk, they have a power hour, it gives them a bit of sort of fire in their belly, or a bit of encouragement, or a bit of support, or a bit of useful advice. And normally they're happy with that. A few people come back for more, but actually, so far, so good. The one-to-ones aren't too taxing. And obviously we get our meetings that we have on Zoom normally once a month. I upped it to once a week, and then I dined it again to once a month, but we do get regular meetings on Zooms.
Yeah, it went up when we were in all the lockdowns, didn't we? And we all had a lot of time, and we all wanted to really connect with each other, and it just made sense. And equally, it made sense to go back to once a month once, kids are in school, everyone's starting to see clients again, face to face, online, their businesses are growing again. And, it does make sense. And I think the flexibility within Single Mums Business Network, we all get it because our businesses are all flexible. And the clients that stay with me, and I've had some clients that have been my monthly clients for like well over 6 years now, and sometimes I've got to change last minute, and that's okay because they're flexible, they get it. And if they've got to change last minute, it's okay, I get it. Now obviously you keep your eye on people that keep doing it. That's not okay, but having that flexibility, I think is good.
Yeah, it's really important. And so if I do need to change something, because as a leader, I'm also a single mum, running business and work as well, I maintain, I feel like if anybody wasn't okay with that, then I would know that, they didn't quite. But to be honest, everybody does get it and everybody is okay with it. Yeah. There's never any judgment because we're all just doing the absolute best we can with what time we've got. Yeah. So it's wonderful like that. And it's lovely, isn't it, that we've got long-term, loyal customers or members that just get it. There is an invitation. So the video, so once you join in the closed Facebook group, there is all the videos uploaded, which was this 12-week business planning, accountability and growth program, which just basically goes through all of the setting up your website, making sure that your, psychologically informed environment is right. And I say that and mine is all wrong at the moment. But there's so many, there's all the sort of basics to get you started from business in there. And obviously demonstrating your support for the social impact and for what we stand for. Yeah, and the relationships with stakeholders, and just investing in yourself, really holding your head up, having your pride. Obviously, we've got the awards as well. We're going to have a garden party in the summer, which we're in the process of organising.
Oh, fantastic, because I missed. So basically, every year there is an awards ceremony now. Which is amazing. We all get dressed up. Our children are invited. You're given enough notice that if you need to spread the cost, you can. The hotel, or you're given, there's hotels locally that you can go to that are a bit cheaper. So you're given all of the options in plenty of time. Now, maybe some people like myself delayed it a little bit, but I finally got myself organised, and I shall be joining you lovely ladies on the red carpet and on the stage, which I'm very much looking forward to, and so is my daughter. And the other thing that we really, really enjoyed was 2021. We all met and we did like a summer meetup. We did a photo shoot. We got all the kids together. A few of us camped together. And it was just such a beautiful, fun experience that we all got to share.
It was lovely. It was absolutely beautiful, and we know we're in good company. And we'll do that again in summer, and we'll have a photo shoot as well. So the awards and Winter Ball, it's so important our children are included, because we understand the childcare. We don't want the cost of childcare, and when do we ever? We know normally as single parents we're excluded from social invitations. So we get to get dressed up because our children just see us running around, whether we're cleaning or working or, paying finances or taking care of them. And it's so nice because for one night a year, they get to see mummy shine and look gorgeous and wear a nice dress, and for everybody to applaud her for everything that she's doing. And it's a real pat on the back moment. And we get to see our children dance and enjoy each other's company. And it's just absolutely magical. It was everything I envisaged, just like the magazine. And it's coming to fruition now. It's a third year of awards, but our second year we do that in person because obviously year one was in COVID. And it's magical. It's absolutely magical. It's priceless, really. But the barriers that you mentioned, being able to pay, we look for a hotel that doesn't make a massive profit on these things. So the ticket cost is at cost anyway. I don't make a profit on the awards. I sell the tickets at cost to what the hotel charge. But then even that, I understand, even if it's £40 for an adult and £20 for a child, £60, I understand that can just be so hard to come by. So I let members say 10 months in advance, do you want to pay me £6 per month for the next 10 months? And then you've got you've got your places sorted for the event. And it just takes away. It's not only making it accessible, it's also giving you something to look forward to, which is so important for mental health. You always need something in your diary that you're looking forward to. You need that. Back in the day, it was probably holidays with me, but now that one magical night, and that after the awards, it's going to be the summer garden party. You need something to look forward to. The hope, everything, all of those things kind of are connected to that. Yes, it's great. So thank you.
It's okay, pleasure. I really look forward to the summer get together. And do you have an offer for our audience, or an invitation?
Yeah, an invitation, I think, because like I said before, I really reiterated, nobody comes to the Single Mums Business Network with, can I have a concession because I'm really hard up? We understand that everybody chips in, everybody holds their head up and say, I'm committing to this because this is an important part of my progression. I think if you're in business, it makes sense to come. But actually, I'm finding more members joining lately who are also not in business. And it needs to be really clear to the audience that you can join if you are a single mum in work, in employment. You can join if you're a single mum on benefits. And instead of being surrounded by perhaps negativity, if you want to be surrounded by people who say, yes, you can do this, we'll help you on your way, we're kind of baby footsteps. We can either support you with self-employment, or we can support you to signpost you to the best routes of employment, because of course I protect SMBN members as well against fad schemes. It's a safe space. It's a governed space. I won't hesitate to kick somebody out of the group who tries to stand on their sisters. We don't do that. We don't stand on each other. And like you said earlier about the Instagram perfect life, we don't do that. We don't pretend. We don't say, I'm earning thousands, so could you. That's the wrong way. Stand on your sister's heads in order to try and survive. So I'd say to your audience, to this audience, if you want a safe space where you're going to get the truth and you're not going to get lies and fake dreams, but you're going to get a positive environment where, we're just like, yes, we get what's going on, but what are we going to do to make sure that our story doesn't end like this? What are we going to do to improve ourselves, personally and professionally? And how can we not only help ourselves, but help each other? And how can we change the future for our children? If you want to be part of that, then come on in.
Fantastic. This is brilliant. And if you're listening to this, if you're in the audience, please reach out. All the details to connect with Jules are going to be somewhere close, above, below. You can literally do a Google search for Single Mums Business Network. And join us. We are a very positive, go-getters type of a group, and hang out with us and great things will happen.
You want to join now, don't you, Jane? If you wasn't already a member, I can tell
you. Yes. So thank you so much, Jules. We're going to have to say goodbye to you now as we roll on into the next portion of this show. Thank you so much.
See you next Saturday.
Goodbye. See you for the party.
Bye.
Stay sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive. Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business and publishing worlds, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing and guidance for growth, mindset and motivation. Hello. So we are going into the next portion of the show, the Minditation, which is my coin phrase for mindful meditations. So today we're going to just really step into starting your day with mindfulness. Okay, so grab that cuppa and step into this space. Ooh. That's a little mistake there. One moment. Hopefully you can hear me now. So today we are tuning in to starting your day with mindfulness. My name is Jane Scanlan and I'm going to take you through this Minditation. So tune in and bring kind awareness to what starting your day with mindfulness really means to you. How does it feel in the body? What kind of emotions do you associate with it? So waking up with awareness. One of the best techniques to help bring mindfulness into everyday living is to start your day with it. Many of us have rushed morning routines and do not pause to be present until later in the day. So this exercise can help you start off your day with a mindful moment, bolstering your practice in the coming hours. When you wake up, take a moment to pause before getting up. If you use an alarm clock, try attaching a sticky note to it to just remind yourself to pause. Whilst you're laying in your bed, tune in to your body. Feel the body resting and notice how it feels to begin moving and stretching. Then bring awareness to the breath, taking a few deep breaths. Recognize that you woke up and are breathing this morning. As you get up and begin your day, try to retain some awareness, some gratitude. Mornings and routines make it easy to fall into autopilot. But if you just take that moment to pause, you can notice when you lose presence and then just come back to mindfulness. Come back to a pause in routine. As they say, smell the coffee. Take a moment to tune in to your body and your breath. And just slow down. I know the mornings that work the best for me are those with routine, but that also have moments of awareness, of stillness, moments where I tune in to my breath. Thank you so much to listening to this meditation, and I hope it encourages you to take a moment tomorrow morning or some point in your day to just stop and breathe and tune in. My name is Jane Scanlan. Thank you so much for joining me in this week's Meditations.
Stay Sane with Jane, the show that helps you and your business to thrive, not just survive.
Tune in each week as Jane connects with guests in the wellness, business and publishing worlds, bringing you the most up-to-date training, techniques, healing and guidance for growth, mindset and motivation. Each session includes a magical guided meditation led by Jane or one of her special guests.